welcome to Teal House Farm. My goal today was to plant our strawberry patch and our potatoes, but just like every other day this week, it is still raining, and so we can't. And so instead we're gonna go ahead and start our indoor seeds. All the girls are gonna help me. We'll kind of show you what we're starting indoors. We're also going to be starting these in our toilet paper tubes like we did our greenhouse seeds. It worked really well, and I love that the toilet paper tubes are biodegradable. So you use your toilet paper, you save the tubes go into your garden basically, and then they decompose, and so there's nothing hitting the trash can, which is awesome. And it's also basically free because you're going to be buying the toilet paper anyway. So we're going to go ahead and just show you what our setup looks like. I like to keep starting seeds as simple as possible because there are plenty things in life that are complicated enough. Seed starting does not have to be. Okay, so for today, we have a whole bunch of the cardboard tubes. I have some larger pots. We're gonna go ahead and show you what we're gonna plant. And we're not gonna quite get everything planted today. I need to get another tray so that I can get more cardboard tubes stuffed in there so they won't all tip over. If you just do them on like a cookie sheet, on something like that, they're gonna tip over as soon as you try to move them. In this roasting tray, they're nice and tightly packed, so when I carry them out to the greenhouse, I don't have to worry about them all falling over. So in this tray, we're going to plant several different varieties of tomatoes. I like planting a lot of different types because that way I can make pasta sauces, I can make salsa, we can have slicing tomatoes. I just love tomatoes. So we are going to plant this is a slicer tomato, a beefsteak tomato, a Roma tomato, which has a lot more flesh on it. And then these looked really cool in the Burpee catalog, so why not? It's a bodacious. They're supposed to be just giant. And then in the second half of this tray, we're going to plant our peppers. These I grew last year. This is an Italian frying pepper. It was sweet, and it's almost like a banana pepper, and I just really liked them, and so we're gonna grow these again. And then your traditional bell pepper. And then I also have my hot jalapenos. This past year I canned mixed peppers in half-pint jars, and it was so helpful. I use them all the time in stir fries and omelets. You can put them in meatloaf or casseroles, so we're definitely going to do that again. In some of the larger pots, we're going to start summer squash. That's zucchini. I'm only going to do a couple of these. We've had really bad squash bugs in year past, so I did not grow squash last year to try to get them to move out. So we're going to try just a couple squash this year. I'm actually going to start them in just 2 of these toilet paper tubes and then move them out to my container garden, because I think if they're in containers, it's going to be a lot easier to check them for bugs than if they were in the ground. Okay.
Can I cut this open?
No.
Yeah.
Stop shaking all the seeds. I will show that when I'm ready. And then I'm going to start a couple winter squash as well, which is their butternut squash. I really like those, so I'm hoping the squash bugs leave me alone, or at least are manageable. Okay, also in the big pots, we're going to start a couple honeydew. I only have a couple seeds left, so that's what's in here.
Oh, I love honeydew.
And we have a nice large watermelon. We've tried a couple different ways to grow watermelon, so we're going to try them actually in the garden this year and see if we can get them to trellis up the side of the garden, because trying to grow them in really large pots, they just became root bound. Almost done. Cantaloupe We grow cantaloupe almost every year. The girls love it. I find that it does really well in my garden. And the last thing is a new one. We're going to try growing our own huckleberries. They grow wild in Missouri, but we don't have any on our property. So we're going to go ahead and start them. And I'm going to transplant them outside, kind of around where my mulberries are. So not in the garden, but I think it'll be a nice addition to our little berry area outside.
Mommy, how about these?
And now all these little ladies have been super anxious to get planting, so hi. So we're gonna go ahead and start filling up these containers with dirt. Pretty simple. I am going to do it in the greenhouse this year just because so previous years we've always just started inside. Don't feel like you need a greenhouse or a fancy place or grow lights or anything like that to start seeds. You can put seeds in dirt and pots and most of them will grow. It'll be okay if they just need some sunlight, so near a window. But with all the kids, it was always this constant defense of trying to keep babies from touching the pots and knocking them over because they're curious. And so I'm very thankful that we can put them in the greenhouse this year and I really don't have to worry about it. Of course, there's always the fear that maybe a mouse will get in and steal the seeds. But we do have 5 cats outside, so if that mouse manages to get in and steal the seeds, he probably earned them. So that is pretty much it for starting seeds. A couple little tips and tricks that I found. I don't like starting cucumber plants in pots. For some reason, they just don't do well for me. They do much better if I start them in some hilled up dirt right at the beginning of the season once the danger of frost has passed. Another tip is to make sure that you have a good sunny location for your pots. If they don't get enough hours of sunlight, your little sproutlings are going to look real long and spindly, and then the stems can actually collapse and then it'll kill your plant. So you want to make sure they have plenty of sunlight. If you're like me where you don't have a lot of windows inside that get direct sunlight all day, I actually previously would take plants outside during the day if it was warm enough and sit them up out by the barn. And they would get plenty of sunlight that way and bring them in at night so they didn't get too cold. As far as what your starter medium should be, you could go crazy researching. I honestly go to the farm store and buy a big bag of whatever potting soil that they have on sale. I am not really picky. Maybe that's silly because I get really picky about my garden and what we do to improve the garden soil and what we add to it. But when it comes to starting plants, I just keep it easy and just start in whatever potting soil that they have on sale. Some people use peat moss. Some people get really picky about whether or not it's an organic starting soil. I feel like, you know, you're gonna use that much in a little toilet paper tube. I just buy whatever's the cheapest and will go the farthest for me. So thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear about what you're starting for your garden. I am so excited. My favorite time of the year is here. I will talk to you all soon. Don't forget to leave us a note below. Love to hear from you. Bye.